a place you can go for a little bit of fun with the family and get your kids involved with play and also with learning, especially in some of those STEM areas, is the Robot Garage with 2 locations in the Metro Detroit area in both Rochester Hills and Birmingham. Joining us on the program today, the co-founder of the Robot Garage, Sarah Jacobs. Sarah, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this. Really interesting what you do and the services that you provide. First off, just give us a little bit of a history of the Robot Garage and tell us about your locations in our local area.
So my family started this business in 2011. We have 3 daughters, and the oldest, Jane, was definitely heading into STEM. She was born to be an engineer and all those things, and there was no place in the area to do what she loved to do on a regular basis. My husband's an engineer. I hated math and science growing up. I felt like I was bad at all of that. And I followed my kid into business. So we started the Robot Garage. And since that time, I've learned to love math and science, along with about 100,000 kids in the area who have, taken our classes or gone to our camps or our field trips. And my daughter's now graduated from college, and I'm still at the Robot Garage.
And so, Sarah, of course, the Robot Garage, robots right in the name. It's something that you can interact with, or kids can interact with in these programs, in these camps, and more that you offer. Mm-hmm. But what's also a key element of what you provide is play with Legos. And when people think about Legos, they think about it's a children's toy. It's something that's been around for decades, for generations. But they're also really functional and can be used for a number of different teaching purposes as well. So why also add Legos into the fold in addition to robots?
Question. Lego actually got into the kids' robotic business in the late 1990s. They were really the first ones there, and from that came this huge competition. If you hear about those big robot competitions with kids every year, a lot of them are participating in this Lego-based robotics program. We have a great organization here called First in Michigan that heads up teams at every level and runs great competitions. And we kind of veer off where they do great competitions, and we do more day in and day out workshops, classes, camps. Lego is such a great portal of entry for all kids. Every kid loves Lego. One of the great things about it is there's nothing fragile about it. No matter what you do, it's going to come together. If it breaks, you can put it back together. So to take that base that's got no intimidation factor and start building robots with it is a natural. We teach video game design and coding, and we actually use video games as sort of another portal of entry. We like to meet kids where they are. They already love video games. Let's use that as a way to teach coding. They already love Lego. Let's use that as a way to teach engineering, robotics.
So, Sarah, what is it about these programs, these camps that you provide that helps to bridge some of those gaps? Because like you mentioned, your daughters, your husband, they were always into math and science, but you weren't an enthusiast of that. Many kids aren't naturally into those kinds of things. So how does your business then bridge those gaps and make it interesting and fun for these kids to have these learning experiences?
I think you asked exactly the right question. How do you make it interesting and fun? And we start with fun. We feel like, the statistics are still lousy. I think something like 60% of kids by 4th grade have decided they're not good at math and science, whatever that means. So on one hand, you've got this more formal, traditional education model, and then you've got this after school arena where the Robot Garage lives, and we can kind of do our own thing. So we focus on fun. We know our programs are good. We've designed all our curriculum in-house. The people who design the curriculum teach the programs, so they're constantly being tweaked and edited. But I think the greatest compliment we hear is when we'll be in a school doing a field trip, and the principal will walk down the hall and say, "What is going on?" because of all the screaming. And they'll walk in and they'll say, "We've never seen 100% of our kids engaged before." And for us, that's a win. Different kids are going to pick up different lessons at each activity, but we are so committed to trying to make sure every child has fun and meeting kids where they are. Some kids may come to us with 3 years of robotics experience. We're there for them. Some kids may just want to try something. We have these one-day camps coming up for holidays in December. It's a great way to go spend a couple hours at the Robot Garage and just see what you think. take a camp. We like tastings. We like to give kids introductions without making it too big of a commitment.
We're joined by Sarah Jacobs, the co-founder of the Robot Garage, on today's edition of the Megacast. You can find more information in a few ways, actually. The robotgarage.com is their website. You can also send them an email, programs@therobotgarage.com, or call them 248-723-9100, 248-723-9100, with locations in Rochester Hills and in Birmingham. And as we continue to talk about these programs that you provide, these different services that are provided by the Robot Garage, give us some more insight into that and elaborate on some of those programs so families can know, or educators can know, exactly what kind of things their kids can engage in at the Robot Garage.
So we do three main areas. We do after school classes. You can join every month. We have new classes starting. We have birthday parties, which are a really good way to get all kids involved. We see a lot of parents self-selecting. We see parents come in sometimes with their son for a Robot Garage class, and their daughter is definitely interested. We're very hands-on. You can see them playing with robots in the store, and they can't wait to, come in and play. But the parents will say, "Oh, we're going to ballet. Your brother goes here." So at birthday parties, that doesn't happen. You invite your neighborhood or you invite your class, and it's great because you just get a whole group of kids and they have so much fun. And then we do summer camps, 1 week summer camps, and we do 1 day holiday camps. The holiday camps coming up in December will only be at our Birmingham location, but we've got 3 different themes. There's a Lego Masters Pokemon theme. There is a video game design theme, and there is a robot battle theme. So they all have a good mixture of Lego and robots and coding. And then the other thing we do is, field trips. What I was going to say to you, it was when we were hit very hard for COVID, we are completely hands-on, and we totally shut down our locations. But what that did was it forced us to learn how to teach virtually, which we didn't think we could do, but we piloted our programs with a number of our really amazing families. And out of that grew a subscription program. So we, as of a year ago, started shipping monthly kits of Lego and Lego robot projects everywhere in the country. We've got people as far as California and Canada. And then that goes along with 3 hours of class time. We pre-record our classes, so a child can sit down at a kitchen table anywhere in the country on their own schedule and keep up with our classes, building their own Lego robots every month. And that's been, for us, an amazing discovery that kids can not only learn virtually with hands-on, but in a lot of cases, especially for different learners, the virtual is almost better because the child can go at their own pace. They can speed up the video if they want to go faster. They can slow it down and pause and rewind if they need more time with those fine motor skills at that age. We actually were so concerned the first time we started shipping that we were going to get calls from people all over the country who couldn't follow along, no matter how hard we tried. We've shipped thousands of kits at this point, and I think thousands of projects. We've only had 2 calls in a year for people asking for help. Everybody else it worked. So that was a great discovery for us.
You can find more information, including info on their subscription services and more, by going to their website, therobotgarage.com. Winter classes and other recurring classes throughout the year, as well as virtual programs, can also be found on their website. Again, that's therobotgarage.com. They have 2 locations, one in Birmingham, one in Rochester Hills. And Sarah, for you, you're a parent, and so you've seen this in your own kids, but also for those educators, for those other parents out there that bring their kids into your business, what is it like for you and for those that work at the Robot Garage to experience all those kind of aha moments where things click, or even just the moments where kids realize they can have a lot of fun learning about math and science without going through the traditional rote memory learning of being in the classroom?
You said it. I mean, we have this corny expression. We want to give every customer child an aha moment every day, but that goes for us too. Those aha moments are contagious. And, it's interesting, even with the labor shortages right after COVID and all of that, we somehow managed to keep our core staff, thankfully, and have a really amazing group of people. I think kids young people are, I think everyone's looking for meaning in what they do now and at work. And the Robot Garage has meaning. Helping kids has meaning. We may never know what kids we've made a difference for in this world, but I think the feeling is we're giving it a good shot every day. Um, it's an interesting thing. I just seeing kids, those eyes open up and seeing it. We have a wow built into every single project we do. So at the end of every step-by-step mechanical project, there's this moment when a child pushes a button or uses a sensor and everything works. And to have that happen and that reward and see that in a child's face is just magical.
More information can be found on these programs so you can experience them with your kids yourself at therobotgarage.com. Therobotgarage.com, the website. You can call them 248-723-9100, 248-713-9100, or email them programs@therobotgarage.com for all the information that you need, or get your questions answered as well. And Sarah, as we continue on, we know that there's such a focus now in trying to get more young girls and women to go into STEM careers. We think about some of these careers and career fields, and even just STEM interest in general tends to be more of a boys' club, but there's growing interest from girls and growing interest from women to be in these professions. How does that become a focus, or how do you utilize your business and what you do to help elevate some of these girls into these areas of interest, and tap into those interests they may have and show them they can turn these into careers?
Right. So, oh man, I think of the best things we've done over the past 10 years in that area are with partnerships. We partnered for many years with the Girl Scouts of Southeast Michigan to do a robotics day with First in Michigan. For a long time. That was a great program. The kids would come in, the troops would come in with their moms, and we would challenge them to build sumo robots and compete in battle with them. We've worked with some of the really generous foundations in the Detroit community have sponsored programs where we'll go in and do like an all-girls robotics camp. One of the things we see on site at our locations is by the time you get to middle school, it's probably 80% or more boys, not girls. And I had a daughter who wanted to do robotics enough that she was okay walking into a classroom like that and being the only girl or one of the only two girls. But that's a really hard ask of a young woman, especially a middle school girl or an upper elementary school girl. So one of the things we found is when we can isolate like a whole week for summer camp for only girls at all ages, there's a whole different dynamic that goes on there that is nurturing and that lets girls feel safe and comfortable exploring things they might not feel comfortable exploring in a room where they're one of the only females. We bring into a program like that, we'll bring in a mentor from the business community, from the STEM community. It could be a scientist, an engineer at one of the car companies. We love to partner real life engineers with a project that's age appropriate so that a child can really envision themselves doing what the person talking to them is doing in real life. And a lot of mentorship. I mean, I remember walking around the first girls' camp we did, and with the woman who had come from the Ford Foundation had sponsored that. And the woman from Ford walked around and gave her phone number to a couple of the middle school girls saying, if you have questions as you get older and you just want advice, please feel free to call me. And I always was so touched that she had done that.
I'm joined by Sarah Jacobs, the co-founder of the Robot Garage, on today's edition of the Megacast. More information can be found at therobotgarage.com. Sarah, a couple more minutes with you before we'll have to move on today. Anything else that we haven't discussed yet about the Robot Garage, upcoming programs that we should be keeping an eye out for?
I would say, you hit on something asking about women. We're so thrilled about the way that subscription programs have been working for kids at home. And I would say if you have a child who's, for whatever reason, who's more comfortable at home working on something new like robotics and engineering, I would say try our subscription program. You can do it a month at a time and cancel at any time. You can do a 3-month bundle and save a little bit. It's a really good holiday gift. Or have them try one day in person at camp with us. And in December, see how it goes. If it's a good fit, you'll know more about what you want to sign them up for in the summer. And if it's not, you sent them to a place with Lego for a day, and it wasn't so bad. It was probably really fun. I would say that. And the other thing I would say to parents is, I think most of us, I mean, I'm older than most parents at this point, but I think a lot of us grew up in a world where people like my husband were told, you're going to be the next engineer, you're good at math and science, the rest of you, let's work on something else. And that is no longer true. We live in a world, people say, what's STEM? Well, my question is, what isn't STEM? Everything in the world is STEM now. Every kid will know how to use a smartphone and sensors, and at some point they'll have robots in their lives of some sort. And that, to me, this is as fundamental as teaching someone how to swim. They don't have to be a professional swimmer when they grow up, but they should know the basics. They should be comfortable jumping in the water. And we feel like that with engineering and robotics and all these STEM fields.
You can also always find more information on programs and get involved and contact the Robot Garage on their website, therobotgarage.com. Sarah, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a good week.
You as well. You can also call them 248-723-9100, 248-723-9100. The Robot Garage has 2 locations in our local area in Oakland County where we originate this broadcast 5 days a week, those being in Rochester Hills and in Birmingham.